everybody. All right, so here we are with Unbound, Chapter 33. A pine knot torch sticks in a slit, what's carved into the table. It casts ghostly shadows on the cave wall. We don't talk, but listen for the howl of dogs or the hoot of an owl. Waiting and listening makes my heart thump louder and heavier in Master Allen's footfalls when he's storming. Flickering shadows is making me sleepy when my eye catches something moving in the darkness. "Mama, Aunt Sarah," I whisper. "Something long and black slithering under the beds." Mama takes the torch and we both tiptoe close enough to hear Willie's breathing and see the dribble of sleep what runs down his chin. Close enough to see two cloudy blue cat-shaped eyes staring out of a dull, dark coil. A snake! The blackest, fattest, meanest looking snake I ever seen. He raises his head and opens his mouth. Two long fangs hang in a cave of white cotton. A low crinkling sound like footsteps on dry leaves scratches the dark, and a musty scent like spoiled fruit chokes me. Willie sets up and rubs his eyes. "What's that smell?" "Go back to sleep, Willie," I whisper. "You was just dreaming." I feel Aunt Sarah's hand on my shoulder. "Step back, Grace. Slow as you can. Step back." My legs is weaker than swamp grass, but I step back. So does Mama. The snake closes his mouth and lowers his head. My whole self's trembling inside and out. "That snake's holding a poison what could kill us," Aunt Sarah says, "but he'll stay put if we leave him be." Willie's already back to sleep, but Mama's eyes is wide as hickory nuts. "What about my boys?" "Every creature's got a voice," Aunt Sarah says, "and this snake's already told us he's ready to fight. The boys'll be fine long as they stay sleeping." "Did you see his blue eyes?" Mama asks. "Did you ever see a snake with blue eyes?" Aunt Sarah guides Mama to her chair and puts the pine knot torch back in the slit. "Must be getting ready to shed his skin," she says. "We'll keep watch. Sometimes being brave is just knowing when to step back and wait." Willie wakes up again. "Mama," he calls. "Mama, I smell something." He sits up and scrunches his nose. "It's nothing, baby. Go back to sleep." Mama tries to keep her voice happy, but I can hear the shake in it. Willie dangles his foot over the side of the bed. "Stay on the bed!" Mama screams, and Willie starts to cry. Mama takes the torch and walks toward him real slow. "Shh, don't cry. Stay in bed. Mama's coming." In the dim light of the pine torch, we see the snake uncoil. He points his arrow-shaped head toward Mama. He opens his cotton mouth. He slithers toward her. "Mama! Mama!" Willie calls, waking up Thomas. "Mama! Mama!" they both call. "Shh." Mama walks toward the bed. The snake slithers toward Mama. "I's here," Mama tells the boys, fear swallowing her words. The snake holds his angry head high, and I see the missus standing over me. I feel her cold hands and smell her snarling oyster breath. In the white hollow of the snake's stretched mouth, his sharp fangs flash. Aunt Sarah pops up and taps her cane. The snake turns, and before my thoughts shape into sense, I grab a rock, move past Mama, and drop it on the snake's gaping head. "Keep your mouth closed!" I scream, much louder than I should. "Keep your mouth closed!" Blood squirts from the snake's crushed skull, but he still squirms. Mama rushes to the bed and takes Willie into her arms. Thomas wriggles beside her, and her arms open to hold him too. "Hush, little babies," Mama sings, but her voice withers into rasps. At my feet, the snake twitches and turns. "Leave it be," Aunt Sarah says. "Those white fangs still got poison in 'em. Even dead, a snake what's got venom can kill." And that's the end of chapter 33. Okay, what would you call chapter 33? Okay, chapter 34. The coiled snake puts me in mind of the patty roller we left laying in the woods. Even knocked out, them what's got venom can kill. Finally, Uncle Jim comes in carrying a bundle of berries and a basket what smells like heaven. "What have we here?" he asks. Aunt Sarah tells him how I dropped the rock and killed the snake, how I saved Mama and maybe Willie. Old George Cooper takes another rock and severs the snake's head completely. Using the tip of Aunt Sarah's walking stick, he pushes the snake head into a wooden bucket and brings it outside to bury. The rest of the snake still wiggles and squirms. Uncle Jim lifts the snake by its tail and drapes it across the hearth. Aunt Sarah shakes her head. "No brains, but still striking out." Master Allen thinks Aunt Sarah's useless, but she's not. Aunt Sarah's too weak to walk far and too tired to give the boys a breeze when it's hot, but she's not useless. Aunt Sarah knows stuff. Sometimes knowing stuff is as important as doing stuff. Everybody's got a worth. And that's the end of that chapter. I know it's a short one. Okay, so what's our next chapter? Here we go. Late that night, when the snake finally stops twitching, old George Cooper skins it and drops a rope of flesh into a pot of boiling water. Not as good as pork or biscuits, but an empty belly don't care. I'm glad my belly's full of biscuits and berries, instead of poison snake what puts me in mind of the missus and the patty roller. "Tempy left the basket at the edge of the woods," old George Cooper says. "Good I got friends what take care of me and my travelers." "Tempy? My Aunt Tempy? Aunt Tempy's been helping old George Cooper care for runaways? Aunt Tempy what works in Master Allen's big house?" Old George Cooper nods. "Tempy's been helping me a long time," he says. "My Aunt Tempy what tells me to mind my own business and not talk back, what gets up in the dark and goes to bed when it's darker. My Aunt Tempy what makes fancy tater flowers for the missus and blackberry syrup for Master's brother. My Aunt Tempy's been helping runaways?" Old George Cooper smiles and nods. "The very same." "How could that be? I thought Aunt Tempy didn't care about nothing except making Master Allen and the missus happy. How could I be so wrong?" My face burns in wonder and shame. I judged Aunt Tempy same as the missus judged me. When the boys is asleep, old George Cooper tells us about the secrets tucked inside Aunt Tempy's basket. "I didn't know about Aunt Tempy," I say. Less the children know, the better," Uncle Jim says. "But now it's time to grow up." I watch Thomas and Willie curled together on the bed like baby kittens. Seems they's too young to grow up. "Age don't make you old," Aunt Sarah says. Worries do. I take a deep breath. I got more worries than a swamp's got flies. Nobody knows it's my broken promises and sassy words what got the missus set on sending Mama and the boys away. Nobody knows how I judged Aunt Tempy and never thanked her for all the good things she's done. If worries make you old, I must be older than Aunt Sarah. Old George Cooper takes out a small flat rock what's buried in the bottom of the basket. Mean anything? He asks me. I shake my head. Look careful, he says, and tell me what you see. I hold the rock up to the torch and look close. Scratched into the smooth stone is an egg-shaped circle with another circle inside. A curved line, what looks like the moon, is scratched into the top corner. That looks like the moon, I say, and what looks like a fish. Old George Cooper nods. That is the moon, but that's not a fish. That's an eye. Aunt Tempy's warning us to stay put. He looks at Uncle Jim. Guess the patty rollers is back hunting tonight. The worms what's been crawling in my belly feels like they's eating my bones. Everyone's in danger 'cause of me. Not sure what this is, old George Cooper says as he pulls out a worn strip of cloth, what I recognize right away. That's mine, I say, and a sorrow and shame sinks inside me. Mama ties the ribbon round the wrist. Seems Aunt Tempy is sending you a message, she says. I remember Aunt Tempy lifting my chin and telling me the good Lord didn't need a ribbon to hear our prayers. I remember her pulling the pallet from under her bed and tucking Mama's ribbon into the hem of my blanket. What we love is tied to us forever, I say, and add a silent prayer to the good Lord and his angels. Please keep watch over my Aunt Tempy and forgive me for misjudging her. All right, that's the end of our next chapter. So take a minute and share your titles. Chapter 35. For the next few nights, old George Cooper's the only one what goes outside. The crickets and frogs never stop chirping, and it seems like it's always night. Seems like we'll be hiding forever. Only old George Cooper knows for sure when the sun's gone and the moon's out. And when old George Cooper thinks it's safe enough, he disappears like a turtle, slipping into murky water. Each time he leaves, he brings back something to eat. It's too dangerous for Aunt Tempy to leave stale muffins or scratched rocks, but even in the dark, old George Cooper knows where to find the pine nuts in the pawpaw tree. Hardest part of the wait is keeping Thomas and Willie from laughing too loud. There's not much room to run round, but silliness squeezes in the smaller spaces. Mama tries making a game of keeping quiet, but the hush don't last long. Let's draw, I say, and in the flickering pine light, me and the boys make pictures on the dirt floor. Thomas is just scratching, but Willie starts making circles and squiggly lines what look like people. Uncle Jim, tallest of all, wearing something on his head what must be a hat he wears in the field, and next to him Mama and Aunt Sarah, both just squiggly lines with circles on top, except Aunt Sarah's got 3 legs, what must be her cane. Even old George Cooper's there, standing next to Aunt Sarah, his circle face marked with sharp lines and scratches. In a small space above Uncle Jim's hat, I add 3 circles and some short lines. That's us, I say, and Willie laughs. Aunt Sarah rests an angry look on us, but Willie don't notice and starts crossing his eyes and twisting his tongue so Thomas spits out all the tied-up giggles he's been holding in. Be quiet, Uncle Jim hisses from the corner where he's skinning a squirrel. Little ones is supposed to laugh and have fun, Mama snaps, but she hushes us anyway. Tears well in her eyes. Not natural keeping little ones so quiet, she says to me. Worrying and waiting wraps round our bones like swamp fog. A couple of days and nights with nothing to eat but berries steals the loudness from Thomas and Willie better'n all of Uncle Jim's sharp shushes and Aunt Sarah's squinty frowns. Last time old George Cooper was out, so were the dogs, so even he's staying put. Our pawpaw and berry basket's just about empty. We is starving to death, and it's my fault. If it weren't for me and my writiness, Uncle Jim would be singing in our moonlight garden, and Mama and the boys would be eating leftover muffins and johnny cakes, instead of starving in a cave what's got poison snakes hiding in every corner. Gotta risk a run, Uncle Jim says. Boys gotta eat. Grace, too. Everybody's gotta eat, I say. Old George Cooper shakes his head. Still too dangerous. But we've been inside for days, I say. Maybe the dogs moved on. Maybe Aunt Tempy left another basket. How will we even know? Seems guilt and hunger's lifting the fog from my brain, and thoughts what's been lying faint for so long tumble and spill. We got to do something. We can't just wait for patty rollers or dogs to find us. We can't just starve to death. We got to take a chance. Grace, Mama says, moving from the table to the bed where I'm sitting. Her eyes look like they sinking into her skull. Grace, you got to trust the good Lord, she says. We need to be patient a while longer. Looking into those hungry eyes, what's still floating so much love makes something inside me crumble. But Mama, I cry, it's my fault we had to run. I didn't keep my promises. I didn't keep my eyes down. I didn't keep my mouth shut. I made the missus mad, and she would have sent me to the smokehouse, but Miss Charlotte was there. So she sent me to the blackberry patch, and Jordan helped me, but made me get scratches anyway, 'cause the missus would be looking for him, and he was right. My thoughts leaked faster and spilled cider. She wanted Master Allen to bring me to the auction block, but Master Allen said no 'cause I was a vestment. That's when the missus told Master Allen to sell Thomas and Willie. Only toddlers don't fetch enough money. So he should sell you too. Said he'd get more money if you was sold with them. And selling you would learn me who I am and where I belong, 'cause I'm haughty, Mama, and I don't know my place. If I kept my mouth shut and my eyes down, Uncle Jim would be tending our moonlight garden. So we'd all be eating food what's left over from the big house. I broke my promise. The good Lord knows I can't be trusted, and now he don't care. Now we is all starving and maybe gonna get caught or even die. Mama draws me close. Her gown smells damp and swampy, but still she smells like Mama, and I stop talking to catch my breath and breathe in Mama's kindness. My sweet, sweet Grace, she says. Some folks don't need a reason to hate, but shh, Mama says. Hating's a choice what's got nothing to do with you. But if I kept my promises, if I didn't talk back, if I kept my eyes down, I was wrong to keep you from looking at the stars, Mama says, kissing my hair and resting her head on mine. That's where the good Lord and his angels live. That's where hope shines her beautiful face. Uncle Jim sits on the other side of me. Gracie, he says, I'd rather be eating worms I dug myself in than scraps from Alan's table. He looks at old George Cooper. Maybe Grace is right. Maybe we need to take a chance. I'll go, old George Cooper says. I won't go far, but I'll go. The good Lord's love and forgiveness wrapped round me, and some of my shameful feelings start melting away. But my family's still in danger 'cause of me, and guilty, ghosty worries linger. Uncle Jim's still searching the cave for critters when old George Cooper comes back carrying Aunt Tempy's basket. Our belly's been filling with nuts and berries so long, the smell of big house food makes my stomach jump. Still warm and no maggots, old George Cooper says. Tempy must have just left it. Before we finish devouring our ham and johnny cakes, he pulls out a flat gray rock what's got scratches in it. 2 wavy lines like the ruffle on Anna's collar. That's water, he explains. Tempe's telling us it's safe to leave. He looks at me. Good we took the chance. Uncle Jim pushes our food away. Tonight's the night. He and Mama jump up and bundle the boys in the extra shirts. Aunt Sarah gives them a spoonful of quiet. I rewrap our dinner. Now there's no room in our bellies for food. Now we is all of us stuffed with fear. Old George Cooper reviews the rules he's been spouting every night. No matter what you see slithering beside you, no matter what you feel creeping up your leg or crawling along your neck, no matter what you hear buzzing in your ears, keep quiet, keep moving. I'll be leading, so follow close. I see any snakes or gators, I'll give 'em a wide berth. You do the same. They won't bother you if you give 'em space. Old George Cooper talked slow and low and serious. You was gonna gag on the stink and feel like fainting from fear, but you got to keep quiet and keep moving. Then what makes it to freedom is braver than snakes, gators, or biting flies. He nods real solemn. There's nothing in the swamp what's worse than the stink of being a slave. And that is all we have time for today. So tell your final chapter names, and I'll see you tomorrow for Read Aloud.